Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Choma Stitches and my name is Choma. You're welcome back to yet another sewing tutorial. On today's sewing tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to sew Iro and Buba using Asoke. I'm going to show you how you can join your Asoke neatly so that it can come out really nice. As you can see, this Asoke has the plain one and the multicolored ones. Okay, so you can have a plain one and multicolored one wherever you want. Okay, and as you can see, the lining piece I have also is the same color as the plain one, because the plain one is going to be the Iro, the Buba is going to be the multicolored one. I have a matching thread to sew it. I got 2 of this. It's better to have more than enough than not have enough. Then I have a matching lining. I'm using a cotton lining. I'm going to be using the lining for the Iro. So it comes in a bundle like this. For this particular one, you can use at least 1.5 bundle to make what I did here. So you can have more than that depending on your size, that's your body measurement. Now this plain one, I left it as the full length of 84 inches, as you can see, and I've cut out so many of them I'm going to be using for both the Buba and the one that is going to be on the shoulder. While this plain one is 16 inches in length, I've cut out the pieces I need for the Iro. As you can see, I've cut it out. So I cut it 60 inches because I want the full length of the Iro to come about to like 28 inches or 29 inches. So this 16 inches on fold is going to give us 13 inches. The full length of your Iro, that's the blouse, is supposed to be as long as, like, it should be able to hit on top of your hips or like few inches above your hips. Okay, so not short, so it doesn't poof out after you tie it. So I've already cut that one out, and I'm going to go ahead and start joining them and show us how I'm going to join it. So you're going to place one against the other like this, very close. You are sewing very close at the edge, so your sewing allowance should be at least between 0.25 inches and 0.2 inches. Okay, so not more than that unless you waste your fabric, and we really need all of the width that we can get from this. Okay, so I can get at least the full length I want for the sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and start joining them right now. Now when you are joining your Asoke, one thing you must know is that each side of the Asoke is the right side. As in, there is no wrong or right side on Asoke, at least to the best of my knowledge. So you're going to place one on top of the other just at 0.2 inch, depending on how you can hold it, how you can steady it, because you're not trying to waste all of your Asoke by placing it like 1 inch or half an inch inside. So you're trying to join it as if it's almost as if it is a zigzag, but zigzag doesn't work for this. You have to place it on top of each other, so you are placing it very super close to each other. Okay, like at 0.2 inch or 0.115, okay, something like that. And then you place your footer down, and then you start sewing. So use a tight stitch when you are making this. Now look at how this place looks. See the joining. Are you looking seeing this? So I'm going to continue. Now because of how close it is, sometimes you might make a mistake, just like I have done. There's no need to panic, just lose out the thread. See? So because I'm trying to sew very close to it, you can make mistakes sometimes, so always watch what you are doing. This is the lining piece. I'm going to set it aside because I want to start cutting the Iro now. And this one is going to be the one that will stay on the shoulder. Initially I joined only 3 pieces for this one, but then I want the effect where the person can fold it at will and it will still have like an obvious effect. So I decided to add one more to it. Now if you look at the picture after it was done, you notice that there are 4 pieces joined together instead of 3, with a complete length of 84 inches or 84.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and hem it with 1 inch on each end, because you have to hem the rough parts, and then we arrived at 82 inches, and that same length is what we arrived at when we did the buba after hemming the buba. Here I'm showing you that it is 19 inches when you join 3 pieces. Okay, so just so you have an idea what you're working with. And then this is the buba. I used 5 to make the buba, and the length rounded up to like 33 inches, not too long, not too short, so it can be 1 short or 3/4 length. And then as you can see, I've hemmed it. Also, I'm going to be adding a rope to the edge, but I'm going to show us that when we're done sewing the Iro. And then for the start of the show, okay, this is the Iro fabric. Now because I have the full length here and there won't be any joining at the shoulder, what I have here for this width is 6 pieces of Asoke joined together, although I ended up adding 2 more to it after cutting. Okay, so to fold it, I'm going to fold it from one selvage to the other, so where you assume to be the selvage, and then I'll fold it in half again, this time making sure like the front is on top of the back, because there will be no joining on the shoulder. For the neckline, I marked out 5 inches for the width, and then I'm going to come down by 2 inches for the back. I also used 5 inches for the front depth. Now that width seemed to be too wide and I wanted to reduce it, so I removed 1 inch from it at the end of the day. To cut the neckline, you pick up both the front and the back, and you cut on the back neckline drafting together, after which you will now pick only the front piece and cut out the front neckline. So I'm going to use this piece like that and cut out the lining first before I start building on the side measurements. Also notice that I made the lining piece to be like 1.5 inch shorter than the main fabric. Do well to take that into consideration, because it's going to help give you a neat finishing when you're done. For the sleeve opening, I came down by 10 inches from the shoulder. And then you divide your bust measurement by 4 and add your ease and sewing allowance. So if you want it to be really free, add enough ease to it. So you can now connect the armhole, that's the sleeve opening, all the way to the bust area where you have marked at your bust measurement. For a bust 14 inches divided by 4 is going to be 10 inches. You can make it 11 and then add 1 inch for seam allowance, or you can make it 11.5 and add 1 inch for seam allowance and then connect it. The same measurement you get from the bust area, you can transfer it to the hip area, and because the hip of this person is bigger than the bust measurement and we want it to be free, I am going to be slanting it by adding like 1 inch to the hip area. Okay, you can divide your hip measurement as well by 4, add your allowance or whatever, how free you want it to be, and then add the sewing allowance and connect it, so it might not be straight unless the bust and the hip measurements are the same. And after marking it out, you are going to go ahead and cut it out. Like I said, I'll be adding Asoke to the sleeve area because I want to extend the sleeve. And the Asoke I have is not as long as the 60 inches that we use for the main bodies, so I decided to cut it exactly to the measurement of the sleeve. So, and since it's the same way of joining, I'm going to go ahead and join it. Afterwards, you are going to open up the Asoke, place the lining on it and pin it all around for the neckline, and then you're going to go ahead and sew the neckline using maybe half an inch or 0.25 inches. After pinning it like this, when you're about to sew, make sure to pass hemming gum all around the neckline as you sew it, so that the hemming gum will end up being in between the lining piece and the main fabric, which will now completely cover it up after sewing, like when you iron it. Okay, so pass the hemming gum just like this. Here it is, I've sewn the neckline. So now I'm going to have to turn this one inside out, iron the neckline before I will sew the hem of the dress. So you see that I added hemming gum in between while sewing, so I'm going to add more hemming gum as I iron it to fasten it so it will lay very flat. After ironing it, I will now go ahead and sew. Now to sew here and here like this, you take this place like this and you turn it like this, and then you sew it like so, so that when you are done, you will just turn it the other way. So I've gone ahead to sew the hem, and because I made the main fabric longer than the lining piece, it is going to tint towards the inside. So this is how I sewed it. As you can see, you pull it from the inside and sew it, and then you iron. Make sure you iron the neckline before you start sewing the hem of the dress. Make sure to iron the hem of the dress after sewing the lining. Then you're going to go ahead and sew the side. When you are sewing it, you can stop at 7 inches before the hem. That opening will serve as side slits for ease and comfort. Don't forget to hem the sleeve of the lining as well. And then this, I'm going to use this to make a rope to extend the wrapper so that it will be very comfortable when you tie it. So I have 2 of it here. I'm going to go ahead and sew it, okay? I'm going to go ahead and sew here like so, and then attach it to the wrapper. After sewing it, I used the loop turner to turn it inside out, and then I sewed it to the hem of the wrapper on both ends. To attach this rope, we are going to pick one part of the hem, okay, one side, the one that is going to be on the top of your wrapper if your wrapper is patterned, okay. So I'm going to place it like so on the wrong side like this. You are placing it on the wrong side, and you're going to go ahead and top stitch it. You can sew it twice to make it firm. Don't forget to weave the inside of the Iro so that the fabric will not fray, because it frays a lot. Here is the 7 inches slit. Okay, look at it, the opening. Sew on all each side and top stitch it exactly where the joining starts, and this is what you have. Look at how clean the neckline is, and also look at the rope we attached. Don't forget to iron, and this is the finished work. If at this point you have not subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you get notified whenever I drop a new tutorial. See you guys in my next tutorial. Thank you so much, and bye bye.